Pel Larsson's summer couldn't have gone any better. But now that his time in the Eurobasket tournament is over, after Sweden fell to Turkey in the quarterfinals, Larsson can now officially shift his focus to the continued preparation for his sophomore season for the Miami Heat. That will almost certainly begin with some well-deserved rest. After participating in the NBA Summer League and then making the quick turnaround to lead Sweden into the Eurobasket tournament, Larsson will likely take some time between now and the start of training camp to recover. With only a few weeks remaining before the Heat begins training camp, Larsson will use every bit of these next few weeks not only to rest his body, but also his mind. If Larsson is going to build off the momentum he's built this summer, that's going to have to be a must. You'd have to imagine that's going to be the goal for him before the start of training camp. Officially, the Heat begin training camp on September 30th, but will report a couple of days before. That will give Larsson roughly 3 weeks to get his body right for his sophomore season. Raised expectations for Pel Larsson. After a strong offseason, it's safe to say that the expectations for Larsson have certainly been raised heading into his sophomore campaign. During his 5 games with Sweden at Eurobasket, Larsson averaged 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists per game on 46% shooting from the field. He failed to show good efficiency from deep, but with how much he was expected to carry the team in other ways on the offensive end of the floor, that's not the end of the world. Heading into his second season in the NBA, there's no question he's done enough to warrant a real shot to break into the Heat's rotation. With so many moving parts of the Heat's roster, and under the impression that the team does want to push forward the youth movement, Larsson does seem to find himself in the perfect position to take advantage of his situation this season. But, again, he'll have to earn it. Nothing in the Heat organization is given without hard work. The good news is that Larsson has proven all summer to be up for the task. The only question now revolves around whether Larsson's magical summer will translate to his sophomore season. One thing is for sure, that's where all his focus will be now moving forward. The Miami Heat are potentially screaming something from the rooftops, and not enough people are picking up on the message. They may not have plans to do much of anything between now and the NBA's February 5th trade deadline. To the surprise of no one, their plans for Terry Rozier are the tell-all. As Ira Winderman of the Sun Sentinel notes, the Heat are in the market for another big man and are tracking the availability of a familiar face in Precious Achiuwa. According to Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, however, Miami will not enter the talks to sign anyone. This has led to talk that the front office may waive Rozier to make room for another veteran's minimum. Though nothing is etched in stone, the implications of this decision are massive. The Heat could severely limit their trade deadline options. Waiving Rozier takes his cap hit from $26.6 million down to $24.9 million, saving Miami around $1.7 million. Going this route carves out enough room for the team to add Achiuwa or another big and stay out of the tax. It also leaves the Heat with $24.9 million in entirely dead money on the books. While this is preferable to having waived and stretched Rozier, it's beyond limiting when looking at the prospect of potential mid-season transactions. Right now, the 31-year-old's trade value exists exclusively as an expiring contract. No team is acquiring him with the hope he will help them or with the intention of signing him to a new deal. Rozier represents cap relief in the face of sending out a more expensive and/or longer-term agreement. That scenario goes out the window if the Heat simply pay him to go away. Granted, they have other larger contracts around which to construct deals. Norman Powell is on a $20.5 million expiring contract. Andrew Wiggins could be expiring at $28.2 million, depending on how he handles next summer's $30.2 million player option. Still, both Powell and Wiggins have on-court value to Miami. There is virtually no scenario in which using one or both of them as salary-matching money instead of Rozier makes any sense. Trading for a superstar mid-season gets more costly without Terry Rozier. This all hits harder when looking at the Heat's ongoing pursuit of another star. Any blockbuster deal will likely require them to send out at least 2 sizable salaries. Keeping Rozier's expiring money on the books could be the difference between trading one of Powell and Wiggins and having to forfeit both of them. Miami will invariably do whatever's necessary if the right big name hits the auction block. It may also be resigned to waiting until next summer, after Giannis Antetokounmpo removed himself from the list of immediate options. Even so, the Heat must plan around any and all scenarios. Giannis could become disenchanted 25 games into the Milwaukee Bucks schedule and ask for out in January. Another marquee star will amble his way onto the market before February 5th. When they do, Rozier's expiring contract will be critical to Miami's best package. It sounds bizarre. It's nevertheless true. So if the Heat want to sign a Kiowa or someone else, waiving Rozier is not how they should go about it. The Miami Heat's plan to retain forward Andrew Wiggins could face pressure from outside interest, longtime NBA insider Mark Stein reported Monday. According to Stein, the Los Angeles Lakers would consider Wiggins a potential target if the Heat decide to prioritize payroll flexibility. In his The Stein Line newsletter, Stein suggested that the Lakers' reluctance to consider long-term contracts has softened following a cautious offseason. He added that while Los Angeles is unlikely to pursue just anyone before the February 5th trade deadline, Wiggins could fit the profile of a two-way swingman capable of raising the team ceiling. League sources say LA would indeed have interest in adding a two-way swingman who can raise their ceiling, Stein wrote. My read: if Miami were to make him available, Andrew Wiggins. Performance and playoff concerns. Wiggins has posted solid numbers since joining the Heat, averaging 19.0 points for 0.2 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.1 steals, and 1.0 blocks in 17 games. However, his performance dropped sharply during Miami's 4-0 first-round sweep by the Cleveland Cavaliers, falling to 11.5 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 2.3 assists per game, which may have influenced discussions about his future. Greg Sylvaner of 5 Reasons Sports noted that despite the playoff struggles, Wiggins has impressed the Heat with his preparation during the offseason. Also, sounds like Andrew Wiggins has had a great summer with the Heat, who have been impressed with how much time he has spent around team facilities, Sylvaner wrote on Discord. Trade speculation. Talk of a possible Wiggins trade has circulated since the summer. Anthony Irwin of Clutch Points reported in June that Miami had expressed interest in Lakers forward Rui Hachimura on an expiring contract in a potential deal involving Wiggins. Irwin noted that talks advanced to the next step, but nothing was imminent. Other reports tempered expectations for a deal. The Athletic's Dan Woik reported on The Zach Lowe Show that the Lakers were not actively pursuing a Wiggins, and Jovan Buha of the Buha's Block podcast described Miami's asking price, including a first-round pick and incoming second-year wing Dalton Connect, as steep. Anthony Chang and Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald reported that the Heat planned to keep Wiggins, with Jackson noting that nothing offered so far has been enticing. Sun Sentinel's Ira Winderman wrote in his August 5th mailbag that any considerations to move Wiggins are likely tied to his $30.2 million player option for 2026 to 27 rather than his skill set. Andrew Wiggins is one of the 6 best players on the current Heat roster, and arguably in the top 2/3 of that list, Winderman wrote. Wiggins' status and value. Wiggins, 30, is entering the second season of a 4-year, $109 million contract, earning $28.2 million this year with a $30.2 million player option for 2026 to 27. He was acquired by Miami in February as part of the blockbuster trade that sent Jimmy Butler to Golden State. Stein noted that Wiggins was also discussed in trade dialogue with Phoenix before the Suns sent Kevin Durant to Houston in June, though the Heat have indicated he will start the season in Miami. From Miami's perspective, Wiggins remains a key component of their present team. A versatile wing capable of guarding multiple positions and providing perimeter scoring, he adds playoff experience and athleticism that complement the team's core. His retention allows Miami to maintain both defensive flexibility and scoring depth while keeping options open for future moves. Stein's report underscores that while the Lakers may explore Wiggins as a target, Miami is sending a clear message: Wiggins will only be traded under the right circumstances.